The question about the resting heart rate is a very good point, and I would encourage you to be as consistent as possible, just so we can factor out the highs and the lows. There is some arguments that, well, you need to lay back down and rest for 5 minutes with a heart rate monitor on. If you have the time in your morning and you're disciplined enough to do it, what I want you to realize, it's not advantageous if you're only going to do it once out of every 3 weeks. Do whatever's going to give you the most consistent measurement. But the point is definitely well taken. Now, what I want you to do is, and you guys want to make some notes, write it on your spreadsheet or write it on a separate piece of paper. The weekly average that's off to the far right, that is the number that you're going to be plugging into your heart rate spreadsheet. Okay, when you see your heart rate spreadsheet, it's broken down by discipline. It's going to be motocross, bicycle, and rowing. And you simply take your highest heart rate achieved during your time trial. You're going to plug that in. You're going to plug in what your weekly average morning heart rate is. Excuse me, and it's very important that you remember that. Don't just peruse through the week and capture your lowest number achieved during the week. Remember, we have to factor out the highs and the lows. Okay? That's the thing that we're looking for over and over and over again. If it's not able to give us what we're looking for from that standpoint, what you've got is a bunch of inaccurate numbers. Now, let's fast forward 6 weeks from now, and you guys have 6 weeks of these body analysis information. We're actually going to average the weekly average. And you go, oh my gosh, Rob, this is a lot of math. Think about it. The math is already done for you. You're going to take 4 or 5 variables, add them up and divide by, we'll take 4 weeks average, we'll divide them by 4. This is, and I apologize, I'm not sure who spoke up there, but this is how we're able to start to whittle it down and start to get it a little bit more accurate. If I take a weekly average where you've consistently captured your body measurements the same way every day, and then we factor out the highs and the lows over a week, each week for 5 weeks, I'm going to get pretty close to where your true resting heart rate is in the morning. Now, if there is anybody that's confused right now, I need you to speak up. Okay? You want to document it on a daily basis. We want to look at it on a weekly basis. And I need you guys, this is exactly why, if you don't send this to our office every Friday or every Monday from the previous week, we can't help you. Okay, some of you will email me, hey, these are my symptoms and these are my circumstances. Well, the first thing I'm going to ask you is to send me your body analysis. That's one of the reasons why we require you to send it in, because if you don't know what's causing your performance to fall off the mark, then we have let you down as a team. However, if you don't maintain the proper tools, then we can't help you. So what you've done is, if you choose not to keep up with the documentation, you lose your sponsorship because you've chosen to not do what's important. We're not doing it to be a thorn in your side and add it to your to-do list. Anybody who is stuck on the program has had stellar results. That's not a boastful statement, it's fact. The reason why we're holding you accountable is we know that if you'll do the homework and you'll keep the documentation and you continue to laser in on your nutrition and your performance, there's nothing that will keep you from being the best in your division. Nothing. It's just simply, you've got to pay attention to small details. Okay? I am gonna let you guys know who are on this phone call right now. If you saw the attrition rate from last week to this week, we're in week number 2. And the attrition rate is absolutely double-digit already. Because people don't want to take their body measurements and take their body analysis on a daily basis. If it's not that important to you, that's okay. We'll weed you out pretty quick. So that's why I'm kind of beating this dead horse. It's important that you understand the importance of this body analysis spreadsheet. As I said to you last week, it's the tool that keeps us from allowing your body to overtrain and make yourself sick, and long term make yourself ill, and that would be through chronic fatigue, Epstein-Barr. This tool that you're looking at is the tool that will keep you from ever encountering those circumstances. Your food log is going to be the other component, and the results on your training is going to be the other. Okay? For those of you that are new to the program, remember, this is all information that I want you to keep between you and your notebook. All the information that you're gathering, you should be putting it in a 3-ring binder, because it's going to be this type of information that we're going to be coming back to on a regular basis. Okay? So stop and think for just a moment. What we've done over last week was we completed some assessments for speed, endurance, and strength. We've given you the tools to plug your numbers in. You can see what your row rate was for 500 meters. You can see what your row rate was for 1,000 meters. We're going to come back in 5 to 6 weeks, and we're going to do these exact same assessments in the exact same order. You're going to update your performance log, and you'll be able to look at it and go, oh wow, look, second week in January, I was able to row a 2:05, and now here it is the second week of February, and I rowed a 2-minute. Well, there you go. You've improved. Yes, sir. All right. So if you haven't updated your performance logs, what you've done is you've already started the program missing some vital information. Because remember what we said last week, we're not interested in keeping you busy. What we're interested in is improving your strength and your endurance, and we're interested in making sure that we dial in your nutrition so that you continue to improve your strength and your endurance, and ultimately your speed on the track. So at this point, the reason why our team has held you accountable to only 2 pieces of information, okay? We need feedback. Feedback would be body measurements, which we're going to talk about next. It would be your field testing assessments, and it would be your body analysis for the first week. You guys already have more information than 99.9% of the racers that you're racing against. You should be very strong and confident right now. All right? Look at how much time we've spent together via email and telephone. Most of your competition is not paying attention to these small details, but it's these small details that's going to make you absolutely invincible out on the course. All right? Any questions on the field testing and the body analysis up to this point? All right. The next piece I want to look at is a pretty controversial subject, and that's body measurements. I've had some people that say that they would rather look at the scale every day and use that as an indicator of whether or not they're fat or not. Remember what we said earlier, if you're eating a lot of fruits and vegetables, what is going to happen is your body weight is going to fluctuate 3 to 5 pounds on a daily basis. If you weigh 200 pounds in the morning and you weigh 205, 208 in the evening, that's actually a good thing. For the females that are on the program, I want you to look at your weight on the scale as an elite racer, not as a female that's trying to let the scale talk to them in a certain way. Here's what I mean by that. Take a look at your body measurements. If you want to put a highlighter on your printout, or you want to highlight the cell on your computer, the 2 areas that we look at for body fat is the waist, and we look at the wrist. Okay? I'm sorry, not the waist, the abdomen. My bad. Abdomen. We look at the abdomen and the wrist. Those are your 2 measurements of body fat. Now, some of you say, well, my body comp, I'm a pear shape, so I wear my weight and my hips. Okay, then use the waist factor instead of the abdominal. See, this is where this program is not set in stone. Fitness and performance is never set in stone. If you know that you have a particular body type, say you've studied the metamorphic types and all that, that's great. Then you look at those body measurements that are relevant to your body type. Now, here's what I want to clarify when it means when we talk about the difference between looking at your body weight on a daily basis and looking at your body measurements, which we refer to as body composition. Let's look at the weight on the scale. If you weigh 150 pounds in the morning and you go about your day and you go to Chinese tonight and all of a sudden you shoot up to 161 pounds tonight, you have to understand that there is no way that you can gain 11 pounds of body fat in one day. Think about this. Let me say it again. You wake up in the morning, if you have a piece of paper, write these numbers down. You wake up in the morning, you weigh 150 pounds. You go to Chinese for dinner and you come home and you weigh 161 pounds. By the way, I've seen these exact numbers. That's why I'm using them. Nobody, I don't care if you drink lard, you're not going to gain 11 pounds of body fat in one day. What you're experiencing is you're experiencing a sensitivity to salt, which is causing you to retain water. And you go, well, Rob, that's obvious. For the females on the call, yeah, my rings get tight. Okay, well then how come you don't give yourself credit? You'll look at the scale and try to beat yourself up and say that you've gained 5 pounds of body fat overnight, but yet when it comes to salt and water retention, you go, oh yeah, that makes sense, I understand it. And it's very important that everyone on the phone call understand that, male, female, young and old. Body weight on a daily basis is to evaluate water retention as it results from inflammation and swelling of training, and the retention of water as it relates to eating fruits and vegetables. That's a good thing, by the way. Your body composition, which we do every 5 to 6 weeks, if you're burning true body fat, we're going to see a difference in your wrist and your abdomen. At the same token, as you start to eat more real food, fruits, vegetables, and lean protein sources, what you're going to find is most of you are not getting enough calories and you're not getting enough quality. For some of you that have corresponded with Coach Jeannie and I, you've shown us that you eat well, but what we've already illustrated to you is you're not eating enough. And I need you to understand that that is very common in our business. We have a lot of people that will eat the right things, they're just afraid to eat too much of it. And as I said at the onset of this conversation tonight, no one has ever gotten fat eating fruits and vegetables. So what you have to trust is the idea here that what we're trying to put in your mouth is nutrient dense, i.e. vitamins and minerals, but it's low on the calorie side. So when you look at eating a lot, your body composition is actually going to get leaner, which means less body fat, but you may actually see an increase in weight because muscle weighs more than fat. So what does all this mean? Your intimate clothing, okay? If your pants start fitting loosely, then you know that you're burning fat. For the females in the group, your intimate clothing, you know when it starts to not fit properly, you're burning fat. Now, in the same token, if your jeans start getting tight in the legs, the quadricep area, or they start getting tight on your bottom, you have to understand that your bottom is your butt is a muscle. It's actually made up of 2 muscles, gluteus maximus and gluteus minimus. So whether you're a male or a female, you have to understand that the strength training that we're doing, your butt is going to get tighter and it may even grow. Because think about it this way, if I superset your biceps, if I do a bicep curl, you expect your biceps to get bigger because you're subjecting it to heavy weight. Well, look at what I have you doing already. I have you doing box hops, stars, isolated leg squats. All right, if you're in doubt, stand on one leg and put your finger, stick it into the side of your hip and feel your butt muscles tightening up, just trying to keep you from falling over. That's the idea of functional integration. To complete one exercise, you're using more than one muscle group at a time. Now, with that being said, respect the fact that your bottom is a muscle. If we subject it to load just like your biceps, it's going to grow. So that's real bad news for you females that wear low-cut jeans. Your pants aren't going to fit the same. But you need to make a decision. Either you need to buy bigger jeans, or you need to not do the exercises that we're asking you to do because your bottom is going to get bigger. I'm not going to smoke screen anybody. But understand that the exercises that we're doing is to put you in that proper attack position on the motorcycle or the quad so you can go fast for a long period of time and never get tired. And that's a risk return cost benefit ratio that only you can make a decision on. But we, Coach Jeannie and I, owe you the responsibility of letting you know what and how your body is going to change. That's why we ask you to take body measurements. The second side of that equation is body measurements are non-emotional. Okay? For those of you that have struggled with weight loss your entire life, okay, what ends up happening is you'll start to lose body weight, and what I mean by body weight is body fat, and you won't give yourself credit. So what we like to do with our team is everything is non-emotional zeros and ones.